Hey guys, so I want to touch on a subject that I'm seeing a lot of people about, and I really want to get this out there because it seems to be a common theme with a lot of people that I see, and that's anger management. Now, when it comes to anger in and of itself isn't a bad thing. Okay, just to be clear, those sorts of emotions in and of themselves are not bad. Okay, emotions are like a compass. So they're like a compass that points us to the North Star. And sometimes that compass is off. And when that compass is off, we feel things like anger or frustration. So it normally means that there's something not right in our lives, something that we may or may not be aware of, but something that needs to be fixed. And vice versa. When we feel good, when we feel happy or at peace, it normally means that our compass is good and that we're pointing towards that North Star and that we're on the right track. Now, when it comes to anger management, it's not so much managing the anger. It's more about coming up with a way to understand why we feel angry and what it is that we need to change in ourselves so that we feel angry less. Okay, so we're turning anger into something that we don't want, into something that we understand is an integral part of our life, and understanding how to use it so that we can live life in peace, so that we can live life happier. So, what I'm going to cover today is a fundamental model to help people or to help you to understand the triggers of your anger and what that does to you, and ultimately how your behavior is, what sort of behaviors you get from that, and more importantly, how you can actually stop or control or buffer the anger so that you can use it in a positive way. Okay, so I've got my trusted whiteboard here, and what you'll see is what we call the trigger cycle. Now I'm just going to flip here. So we can see here the trigger cycle. Now the trigger cycle is something that I talk about with all of my anger management clients, and even clients that don't have anger management issues, but this applies to anything, to relationships, to anything in life. Okay, so you don't need to be angry, it's more what triggers you. So as you can see, so trigger cycle, basically it starts with a trigger. Now we'll put an example here. So um, let's say you're driving. Classic example. Let's do the road rage example. So let's say you're driving. Okay, so you're driving along and someone cuts you off, and you're like, damn it, how dare they? I have right of way, all this sort of stuff. So that becomes your trigger. Someone cutting you off becomes your trigger. Now, as soon as you're triggered, first thing that happens is you have an initial thought. In this instance, the thought is, damn it, how dare they cut me off? Okay? That thought then leads to, down here, a feeling. Okay? And that feeling can be anger, frustration, annoyance, all these sorts of emotions that go with that thought of damn it. Okay? Those feelings will then lead to a physical symptom or physical symptoms, which can be heavier breathing, elevated heart rate, sweating. Some people shake. So your body reacts to the thoughts and the feelings. And then you put all of these together and it leads to your behavior, which can be yelling, it can be swearing. Behavior can also include when you get to your work or when you get home, starting an argument with someone, just that you feel better. That can also be a behavior as well, but that trigger is from the road rage. Okay, and that behavior then leads to another trigger. Okay, whether that trigger is more annoyance in yourself, or you're triggering someone else who then triggers you back. So this is why it's called the trigger cycle. Okay, now let's look at the trigger cycle from a different perspective. So what we're going to do is we're going to have exactly the same trigger. So you're driving along and someone cuts you off. Okay, so you're driving along and someone cuts you off. So the same trigger. Now, before, the initial thought was, how dare they? How dare they? They cut me off. I've got right of way. I'm driving here and they just blatantly cut me off. Could have caused an accident. Okay, let's change that thought. Okay, let's change that initial thought to something that that we probably like to have. Okay, maybe I'm lucky I didn't get hit. Okay, I'm lucky that I was obeying the road rules, I was keeping a distance, and I didn't get hit. Okay, so I'm no longer blaming that person, and we're going to cover that in the next part of in another video. In the next video, we're going to talk about control, what we have control over and what we don't have control over, but this is more a reactive kind of scenario that we're talking about here. So I'm lucky I didn't get hit. Okay, now that could result in feelings, or more likely result in feelings of relief. Okay, there's probably still a little bit of anger there. There's probably frustration because it was unexpected, but because your thought is now geared towards you, I'm lucky I didn't get hit, I'm grateful that I didn't get hit, you feel less angry, you feel more relief. Okay, now your physical symptoms, because you're not feeling as angry, you still will have elevated blood pressure, but it won't be as high. You won't be fixated on the thought of that person. You'll be fixated more on, I feel relief. Okay, I'm glad that we're okay. I'm glad that I'm okay. Okay, and then that behavior, because you're not thinking about the other person, you're thinking more about yourself now, will you might talk or you might vent to someone, but you won't feel the need to be aggressive. You won't feel the need to yell. So even though you feel anger, you'll feel those negative things that go with being cut off. Because let's be real here. It's not nice being cut off, but you're not going to think sunshine and roses, because that's just not realistic, right? You're still going to feel frustrated. But what we're doing now is we're buffering that. Okay, so instead of getting to work or and starting an argument with someone so that you feel better, and being aggressive to them, you might vent to them instead and say, you know what, I was driving and this person cut me off. I'm just glad that I'm okay. I'm glad that we're okay. Nothing happened. But you see the difference, right? Your thought, your mentality, flipping the switch inside. So same trigger, but different behavior, different outcome. Okay? So when it comes to things like anger management, as I said, it's not about stopping the anger, but it's about managing it in a healthy way. Okay, because there's always going to be circumstances and situations in our life that are going to make us frustrated. They're going to make us angry. It's normal. It's part of living in the world that we live in. Okay, we can't get away with it, and trying to get away or run away or trying to suppress the negative emotions that go with it is actually incredibly unhealthy. I mean, we need the negative emotions just like we need the positive emotions. Okay? And even that, when we say negative and positive, like I said, they're really just compasses. They're really just pointers in the direction whether something is right or wrong. Now, we have no control whether someone cuts us off in traffic or not, but we have full control over how we respond to that. And that's where the power of the emotion comes into play, because that's how we get defined. We can define ourselves by either getting angry at the person and holding on to that anger, and letting it eat us up inside, or we can choose to look at the the good outcome of that. No one got injured. The car wasn't hit. It was a silly thing that happened. I had no control over it, and it very well may happen again. But I'm in control. I'm in full control of my response. I have that power. Okay, and that's what we want to get to with this first phase of anger management, is realizing that you have control over your emotions, over what you're thinking. Okay? The trigger cycle, you can change your thought. You can change your feelings by changing your thought, and vice versa. And once again, we'll get to that in a future video, where you can change your thoughts by changing your feelings and your physical symptoms. There's a whole modality called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which we'll get into in future. But for now, it's from a very basic level. This model, the trigger cycle, is incredibly powerful. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're watching this, and if you're struggling with anger, start with that trigger cycle. The reason why it's so powerful is because it brings structure to the anger. The anger no longer becomes something that you have no control over, into something that you do have control over. And once again, there's nothing wrong with feeling the anger. Okay, but now you have a means where you can control it, where you can minimize the impact it has on you. So I hope you found this video beneficial. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Share this with friends, family, anyone that you think could benefit from this. And please feel free to get in contact, info@alexrodriguez.com.au. You can check out my website, www.alexrodriguez.com.au. I'm happy to talk with people about this. Feel free to get in contact, and I wish you all the best. I'll see you next time.